All right, what's going on, football fans? Week 12 rookie left tackle report of Jedrick, Mekhi Becton, and Andrew Thomas. Good week. Good week. Actually, Thomas had an awesome week. And if you're a Browns fan or a Jets fan, your first time watching this, you're going to be like, oh, this guy's just a Giants fan pumping up his guy. Like, he's biased. Which is a big change from a month ago. When a month ago, it was like when Becton was playing, Becton killing it, Will's killing it, and Thomas is just sucking. Um, Thomas has turned a corner. He's looked good. We're going to start with Thomas today. Becton, teams are starting to play Becton differently in the pass game, which is not even play differently. They're just trying to not like play him at all. They're starting to just like, you know what? We're not going to win those battles. I did spend some time on Becton in the run because Becton just moves people in the run game, but on his first step, and then Will's had just a an average Will's game. But we talk again about something in the run game, which I think a little bit of his scheme, and Callahan is, probably the best offensive line coach in the NFL. But where he's kind of being left out to dry a little bit. So, like I said, we're gonna go Thomas, Wills, and then Becton. So let's start it off with Andrew Thomas. All right, Andrew Thomas, Week 12 versus the Bengals. Very good game for Andrew Thomas. He played in control, calm, hands and feet working together well. Just a good game for Thomas. Good game for Thomas, man. It's nice to see him turning the corner. He started hot week one, then had a rough stretch where he was getting worse. Like every game was like getting worse, and then the Philly game Thursday night was just really bad. And since then, he's been good. So good to see from him. Let's go through it. Basically, the theme of this is protecting the inside, and trusting his athleticism on the edge. On this play, so you see how he's not oversetting. He's very patient. He's not leaning in his punch, but he protects the inside. Doesn't let there be any type of inside move, and then trusting his athleticism around the edge. That he's able to push Carl Lawson 10 yards around the pocket. Allows Jones to step up and make a big throw. Again, this is a stunt, but it's not even like him reading it as a stunt. You see Carl Lawson do that spin move? The right foot, watch the right foot. Instead of that right foot dropping back to, where that yard line is, stays down, picks it up, and then passes it over to Shane Lemieux. Like, oh, we got ourselves a little stunt. Calm, cool, collected, picks it up. Creates a nice pocket for Jones. And he just powers down on it, passes it off. Good. Again, with the stunt, picks it up. And then what I love about this is he doesn't have to wash this defensive lineman down. He picks this up, and then watch his right foot swing, like just his feet slowly swing around to where he's got just a really good angle right there. Again, passing off stunts doesn't always mean that you're blocking it like as if it's a stunt. Right foot. Now there's a little clip, like a little like skip to my Lou right there. But honestly, as much as that's not good, it's a lot better than him dropping his right foot back. Again, picking it up. And good stuff. Watch this double punch. He's not leaning like crazy, which we'll talk about his leaning later. Bam. Separation. And then just trust yourself around the edge. And then at that point, you're just winning. I mean, this is like a great rep right here. I mean, he's just playing patiently. Patiently with a punch. You notice how he's not leaning over his knees like he was, a month ago. Feet are nice and wide. Using his hands to get that arm off. Does a spin, just sitting there waiting for it. Now here's where he did get in trouble when he was engaged and he was thinking that he was going to get a bull rush. See how he's leaning there? So you get around the edge. I mean, the ball comes out, so it's I mean, it's good that it's happening at like 7, 8 yards. And here's, I mean, basically the same thing. Gets caught leaning. Lawson's able to get around the edge. Luckily, Jones gets the ball out. But and it's still, like, for those to be his bad plays, though, compared to a month ago, if you guys are watching these videos, I mean, that's real progress. Let's go through a few run plays. I mean, watch him block this linebacker. I'm going to play it in full speed. And he acts like nothing happened. And I slowed that. I went through that play so many times to make sure it wasn't a hold. I mean, it's just picking up the linebacker. And when he goes to redirect, just uses that left hand to slam him. And then he acts like nothing happened. Which is like the crazy part about it. Here, watch him get this pancake. Again, I slowed this down to make sure it wasn't tripping over somebody's feet. I mean, this D lineman sees that it's outside. He's trying to get outside. It's like, dude, if you're gonna try and flow outside, I'm going to pancake you. It's always a good play it's always good to roll over somebody. Here we got a good combo block with the tight end 85. Hip to hip, which is great right there. Hip to hip. And so 57 is the linebacker, and they're so patient. This is something that has changed recently, which when you talk about the difference between Colombo and the new O-line, to Guglielmo, is they are so patient coming off onto the double teams. Whereas a month ago, Thomas probably leaves right here, and Toilolo lets this block go or whatnot. But they're just patient. They're patient. They're patient. They just block into the linebacker. I mean, one, that's awesome that they're getting that movement. They block into the linebacker. I mean, that's good. I mean, and like I said, that's just good movement right there. I mean, look where this defensive lineman is starting. That's what I always like to look at. Where does he start and where does he finish? I mean, just moving a guy like he's a high school football player. So, awesome week for Andrew Thomas. Don't hit me with that it's the Cincinnati Bengals. Carl Lawson's a good pass rusher. Browns fans, you should know that. And a guy who's went up against the top competition every week, he deserves a week where he's not playing the best defensive ends in the game. And you know what? You play your competition. He played his competition and he did really well. So good stuff from Andrew Thomas. All right, Jedrick Wills, Week 12 versus the Jags. I will say, it is really hard to evaluate Jedrick Wills in pass sets because the Browns don't drop back, you know? Like, they don't drop back. Like, if you guys watch Dan Orlovsky, when he talks about, like, you got to get Carson Wentz out of the pocket, I feel like he's watching the Browns offense and then going and watching that because, I mean, Baker Mayfield's outside the pocket every play. You guys are going to set the record for bootlegs. I mean, it's like every single play is a bootleg pass. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because it seems like Baker's been inaccurate this year. So is it because he's having to throw on the run constantly? I don't know. But, man, you guys run a ton of bootlegs. Anyways, let's talk about Wills. First rep is one of my favorite reps because it just shows a smart left tackle. That is beautiful. That is you'll see a left tackle go his whole career and not do that. So what is Wills doing? So 96 has his arms locked on him and he's trying to do the bull rush. He's got his left arm totally extended. He's trying to do the bull rush. So what does Wills do? He realizes his arms aren't he's not just gonna he's gonna get bull rush. So he takes his arm and he just wham dumps him. The guy's leaning. He's trying to bull rush. And Wills dumps him. That's something like you do in practice, and then when you get in the game, you totally forget about. And Wills does that. Next play. Just good feet. Wherever the defender goes, he's going. Jump set, nice. I mean, the feet stay wide, not leaning. Keeping active hands. And 59 doesn't know what he's doing. Because everywhere you go, you're going to go back inside. I'll go back inside. Now Baker's scrambling. And I think they even gave 59 a credit for a sack on this. Okay, here's a bad rep. And Wills, this usually doesn't happen with Wills. He goes for that punch. It's not like a punch. It's more like, like a feeler hand. But he's not ready for the counter. And so Wills, like, if you guys watch some of these past videos with Andrew Thomas, I would beat in, like, Andrew Thomas, when they go inside, his foot goes back here, and it needs to be powering down. It needs to be going horizontally or forward. That's what happens with Wills. He's just not ready for it. What I do like is he rides it. It's like, well, if I always say, if you make a mistake, make it at 100 miles an hour. It's just, you got to be ready for that counter, that inside counter, when you go for that punch. You got to be ready to have that right foot, and it's stuck in the air. But I mean, it's just not like a train wreck of a rep, Here in the run game, this is the one positive play we'll go through, and there's 3 bad plays I want to talk about because they are all very similar. I mean, this is just a great combo with him and the guard. I mean, hip to hip, perfect. Great combo, and then he comes off at the last second, which is perfect, onto Jack. And then you got yourselves a hole. I mean, that's a great rep. And let's watch it in full speed. Now this is a 3rd and 18 at the 1-yard line. But if this tight end out here doesn't whiff, let's just assume he blocks that guy up. The running back doesn't have to bounce. He may get a first down on a 3rd and 18 at a 1-yard line. I've seen these Browns running backs break tackles like crazy this year. I mean, if he doesn't have to bounce this side and make sure he doesn't get a safety, this hole's opening up. He's not going to make that play. 42, like I could see. I mean, hell, it could have been a 99-yard touchdown. It shows how, one player can screw it up. Now here's the bad, and this is more on, and Callahan's like the offensive line, like GOAT. But you're running these stretch outside zone right type of plays. And first, let's talk about Wills. He's slow out of his stance. I mean, everybody on the offensive line is up and moving, and Will's hand is not out of the ground. He's got no chance. The other thing, though, is I get this is a hard block for this guard to make. You got to get out there. But this is an you got to give your tackle some help. And if not, you need to be Wills has to be cutting there, which is what I would do. If this is what they're trying to do, they're trying to get their guard out there as fast as they can. You got to cut, and Wills was cutting on these earlier in the year. And never get a chance. And this is a 2nd and 5 at the goal, and it turns into a negative 1-yard play. So now you have third and goal at the 6, and you're kicking, you're getting 3 instead of 7. Same thing here. He's faster out of his stance on this one. Like he's good on his stance, but he just can't get there. Now Chubb has an awesome cutback. I like that Wills continues to wash it, but it's either that or, I mean, you almost treat this, if this is what you're trying to do and not cut block, you almost got to treat it like a pull. But in reality, and I think we talked about this early with all 3 of these, like especially Becton and Wills, it's like you got to start cutting on the backside, because you can't let them just fire out like that. And Chubb is a beast. Like he is for the running back doesn't matter crowd. Like, look at Nick Chubb. Like, he makes stuff happen for his team. I get like the devaluation of the position, but Nick Chubb is a guy who just makes stuff happen. And here we are, the same thing. Again, a little late out of his stance, but that's not bad. But he's just got no chance there. And look what the guard does, Botino. That's what you should be doing, Jedrick Wills. Cut him. Because you don't need to move this guy back. The run is out to here. Cut him. Nick Chubb's a beast. I mean, look at this cut. Just upfield. Nick Chubb is a freaking beast. But this one he should make, though, because the guy is a head up. He's a head up 4. When I say 4, that means like that's the defensive lineman's technique. Like, you got to get there. You've got to make that block. You don't even need to cut on that one. You can't just, and I'm not saying it has to be a perfect block, but you can't just totally whiff like this. And he'll get that right. Wills will get that right. So, nothing bad in the pass game besides that one inside move, the run game. Those were probably the worst of the 3, but it was kind of similar, just not being able to cross the face, which is hard to do. But it was the most consistent I've seen him not be able to get across face. Also, Browns fans, can you let me know why he left the game? He didn't play like 3 or 4 snaps. It was random. It didn't look like he got hurt or anything. Can you guys let me know? Thank you. All right, Mekhi Becton, Week 12 versus the Miami Dolphins. Very good game, very solid game. In the pass game, in fact, let's go through the first play. The run game, there's actually some stuff I want to nitpick on with him. So first play, and there's not many plays like this. Good rep. Gets his hands on them. Once he has his hands on you, I mean, he just controls you with his hands. I mean, you see. Pulls that left hand off so he can't rip around the corner. Just controls him with hands, using his feet. Now, he does not have many reps like this, where it's just a straight vertical kick slide drop back. Want to know why? Because teams are not going at him, which is good. They're like, you know what? The rest of this Jets offensive line is a little suspect. We're not going to go at him directly. We're not going to just try and beat him around the corner. And this is some of the stuff they're doing, but he's doing a good job of this. They're hitting him with stunts. He's playing with confidence. I mean, watch this stunt pickup here. So this is this isn't a pass rush situation. This is at the end of the first half when they're going to be passing the ball. And this guy is rushing the passer. Like, he is rushing the passer, but instead of him getting all worried about here, because this guy has been looping around and dropping back, trying to avoid him, he helps out his guard. And then the defensive end ends up stunting. But to do this, before he does the stunt, to do this, that is confidence that you can handle this, that this guy's not going to beat you around the edge, that you're going to win that rep versus that guy. That's what confidence does for a player. You get to help out your guard. And they end up stunting on it anyways. They end up stunting. Like, I mean, at this point, you would think, like, oh, he's just going to go at the QB, but it's a stunt. And he's already picked up the defensive tackle. I mean, maybe it's something they knew in the game plan or what, but. And then he handles the, I don't even know if that's a defensive tackle, who number 91 is. Here's just a basic stunt he picks up really well. I mean, just playing smooth with his hands and feet. Confidence. Pass that down. His feet get a little skinny. Patient with it. Make sure his guard has it. And then when Van Noy, I was actually watching Van Noy in the offseason for free agency. He is one of the best at stunting and looping around. Like, he plays it really clean. Able to get off. And, the ball's out at this point, but he builds that wall and makes just a nice pocket there for Sam Darnold. That's about as good of a pocket as Sam Darnold will get. And that's not because of Mekhi Becton. Here, this is the Mekhi Becton Bam Somebody of the Week. Bam! I can't stress how much, you just don't see that happen in the NFL. You don't see someone get thrown back like that. I mean, this is it's like he's hitting a little kid. I mean, watch the way 55's arms swing after this. And that's like you like taking blocking for real on your nephew on Thanksgiving. Now, he has to do a better job of finishing this because he gets so much, because of that initial punch, there's so much space that it's like, okay, 55 is able to reset and get in the play. So he's got to make sure he finishes the block. but the wham is there. Now here, let's nitpick on Mekhi Becton. Actually, this isn't a nitpicking. This is real. He's doubling with 67. And his guy makes the tackle. Well, here's one of the reasons why. His first step is bad. Watch his first step. His first step, his right foot is going backwards. We used to call that a Barney Rubble step, like when they drive the car and they try to accelerate. It's that Barney Rubble step. That step should be either here or here. Preferably here, but it's the NFL, so sometimes you have to do it horizontally. That backward step does you no good. And then now, instead of... Now I think the guard comes off the linebacker a little quick too. But they never really get hip to hip here. So this defensive tackle is able to split through there. Now he does a good job of recovering. And this is a little bit on the guard, leaving a little too early too. That defensive lineman is able to disengage and make the tackle. Here's a very similar thing. Opposite way, working with a tight end this time. Watch the first step. Backwards. Backwards. You need either, if you're trying to get outside, that step needs to be back here, or you need to be stepping towards him at a 45-degree angle. When it's backwards, it's just wasted time. It allows him to get in there. The tight end comes off at the right. Like the tight end has to come off here, but now Becton is not able to get on his outside shoulder. He's not able to get on his outside shoulder, and honestly, if he is, this is a nice hole for this running back. This is a nice play for this running back. But he's not able to, so he ends up running into whoever that wide receiver or tight end is blocking. Now here he does the bad step, but I don't know if he's trying to get outside on this, if this is like an outside zone. But if it's not, it's a really good job. I mean, this is when he's best, is when he is running, when he's doing those run out blocks. Because that he makes the hole. Now, no, this guard doesn't come off in time. This center and guard do a horrible job combo blocking. But Mekhi Becton moves 53 from the hash mark. I mean, he moves guys. He's moved guys in the run game. So, Becton needs to work on that step. But overall, I mean, didn't give up any pressure in the pass game. A lot of that was them. They don't go at him, but when they do go at him, he does a good job. So Mekhi Becton, good stuff. But work on that step so you can be the dominant run blocker that you can be. All right, that's the Week 12 Rookie Left Tackle Report. Appreciate your view. If you like the video, like and subscribe. I have fun doing it because I love comparing these three. These were, Tristan Wirfs obviously was in that group, but he's playing right tackle. I just love. I think all three are playing really well. Thomas sucked in the start of the season, but if you look at the past month, it's like, okay, like these three rookies are in the top offensive tackles in the NFL. So, good stuff. Good to see improvement. It's cool to see Becton just throw dudes around. That's always fun. And then Wills is just like so technically sound that when he does make a mistake, it's in the pass game. It's like, whoa, like that where he got beat inside. That shouldn't be that, like, that happens to everybody, and to him it's like, oh wow, I can't believe that happened. So good stuff from him. Make sure to subscribe, like all that good stuff, and we'll see you next week.